Ciao friends, it's Liz from SimpleItalianCooking.com, and I'm so excited you're here today and joining me for this video because I've got a great recipe for a really easy and simple pizza dough that will work for thin pizza, it will work for thick pizza, so it's just a wonderful dough. And the best thing is it is really nothing fancy that you need. We're just going to use regular 3 cups of all-purpose flour, and we're going to need a half a tablespoon of sugar and a half a teaspoon of salt. You're going to need 1 cup of lukewarm water, which is around 100 to 105, 10 degrees. And you're going to need 1 tablespoon of yeast, okay? Active, instant, dry yeast is fine. And you're going to need a tablespoon of olive oil. So the first step that we're going to do is actually, you're going to take the 1 cup of lukewarm water and we're going to dissolve the sugar and the salt in it. Okay, that's the first step. And so I'm just using a little whisk. Okay, so the next step is we take the lukewarm water, and this is where the fermenting is going to happen, okay, with the yeast. So we're going to add in the tablespoon of yeast along with a tablespoon of olive oil. And I'm using extra virgin for the flavor. We're going to let that sit for about 5 to 10 minutes until it starts to ferment, and you'll know when it's fermenting because it's going to kind of start to bubble, okay? It's going to look different. Once it starts doing that, then we know that we're ready to move on to the next step. Okay, our yeast is fermented, and I'm just going to give it a stir here. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our bowl of flour and we're going to gradually pour it in. I'm using a spatula at this point, so we're going to go ahead and just add that in about a cup at a time. And then just incorporate it into the liquid and just keep adding it in. And we're just going to keep incorporating it until it begins to come together like an actual dough. And it's going to start looking a little shaggy, okay? At this point, you know it's time to start using your hands, and you're going to knead the dough. The dough might be a little sticky, and that's okay. You can always keep some flour on the side if it's too sticky and maybe you did too much water. There are different environmental things in your kitchen area, humidity, temperature, altitude, that can all affect how everything mixes together. So having a little bit of extra flour on the side, not a bad idea. You can mix the dough directly in the bowl, or you can pour it out onto a clean countertop and continue to mix it there. Now, if you're unfamiliar with kneading and how to do it, you kind of have to find what works for you. For me, it's just turning the dough a little bit, bringing the front part of it back, and pushing it in, and doing the same. Okay, so I've got a wonderful ball of pizza dough here, and I'm going to put it in a clean bowl, and I'm going to let it rise until it is about doubled in size. And I'm going to coat it with the olive oil and the sides of the bowl. So let me grab a bowl and I'll be right back. All right. So to do this, all you got to do, there's no exact science, just pour a little bit of olive oil into the bowl. That might be a bit much, but that's okay. At least we know it won't stick as it rises. And then depending on humidity and the air temperature, rising times may vary. One thing that you can do if you find that your air is really dry and it's just not rising is to heat the oven to like 170, 120, turn it off and put it in there. Then put in a little, boil a little bit of water in a tiny saucepan and stick it in there. And that humidity, you will see a definite change. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this ball of pizza dough, place it in here and flip it over so that it's coated with that olive oil. And then we're going to go ahead and put a damp cloth over top lightly. If you don't have a damp cloth, you can use some plastic wrap. Just leave enough for an opening. Don't make it tight. Don't seal it all the way. Just loosely cover it. In fact, I think that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so we have the pizza dough. It has risen double in size. And what we're going to do next is just go ahead and put some olive oil in the pan. And this is not only going to help keep it from sticking, it is going to help give it a nice crusty bottom. So make sure to put the oil on the sides. My husband is making faces, so I'm looking off camera. You want to come over and say hi?
Nope.
Okay. Now all we want to do is go ahead and now if you want this to be a thin pizza, you can divide this up between 2 pizza pans. I'm using a 13 by 9 pan, and I'm just going to go ahead and put it all in there. Okay, so you just want to spread it out to the sides, and now what you're going to do, and I'm not going to go through this process because this would be a totally separate video, but what you want to do is go ahead and put your toppings on. So put your pizza sauce on, put your toppings, your cheese, whatever it is that you want on there, onions, olives, peppers, sausage, cooked sausage that is. Do whatever you want to put on here, or just have it plain. And then heat it, you'll cook it at 375 Fahrenheit, and you will do that for approximately 15 to 25 minutes. Again, I have to give that range in there because it really depends on how thick you're having your pizza. Mine's probably going to have to go for about 20 to 25 minutes. Yours might be less. So, and again, ovens vary, so just keep an eye on it. You want that bottom to be nice and crisp. So you can also brush the olive oil on top to give it some extra flavor. So I hope that this recipe has helped you be able to create a easy and simple pizza dough with lots of different uses that you can have and do right in your own kitchen. So thank you so much for watching. Make sure to give the thumbs up, hit the notify button, and subscribe. When we send out more recipes and new videos, that you will automatically be notified. And check out my website, simpleitaliancooking.com. Well, grazie e ciao.